My good is my God is my good. All the good there is belongs to me. My good is my God is my good. All the good I seek belongs to me. That's my truth with a capital T. It's all about living free. My good is my God. My good is my God. I have all I ever need. My good is my God. My good is my joy. My joy is my good. All the joy there is belongs to me. My good is my joy. My joy is my good. All the joy I seek belongs to me. That's my truth with a capital T. It's all about living free. My good is my God. My good is my God. I have all I ever need. My good is my God. My good is my love. My love is my good. All the love there is belongs to me. My good is my love. My love is my good. All the good I seek belongs to me. That's my truth with a capital T. It's all about living free. My good is my God. My good is my God. I have all I ever need. My good is my God. 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 One, two, three. In the name of love, with a heart of grace, overflow in us, decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song, all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, may it always be, seeking out the best, till we all are free. Living in the world we've been dreaming of, where we stand as one, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song, all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love, in the name of love, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song, all as one, in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one, in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song, all as one, in the name of love. In the name of love, in the name of love, in the name of love, in the name of love.
Thank you very much for that wonderful, lively welcome of music. Thank you to the lady and gentlemen of the band. And good morning to you. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, and a special welcome. I see we have some young people in the audience. Thank you for coming. We've got some color sheets for you to take home when you leave, so remember to pick one up. It's for next week, because next week is Mother's Day, and it says Happy Mother's Day. And if you take it home and color it in and bring it back next week, we will put it up on the wall. And that goes for any young people that you have in your life. If you've got grandchildren, nieces, nephews, children, please take one of these home, bring it back, put your name on it, and then we'll display it next week, okay? Oh, I love an obedient audience. Thank you. I am Edward Viljoen, and I'm so delighted to have you here at the Center for Spiritual Living. And if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. And also, I want to thank our live stream viewers. It's so wonderful to know that you're out there, because we hear from you on the comments and also the notes you send us. And we have a live stream audience that spreads out across, well, way beyond Santa Rosa. And so we're a growing family of viewers beyond our physical presence here. Now, if you want to know more information about what goes on at the Center for Spiritual Living, whether you are here in person or online, you can go to our website, cslsr.org, where you will be able to access not only information about events, but our online bulletin. Each week it's updated, and you can download it. You can even print it out and put it on your refrigerator, and you'll have so much information about what is going on here. You won't need a social life. At the Center for Spiritual Living in Santa Rosa, we are motivated by a vision of a healthy, loving world. It's known as the Global Vision, and it calls us to imagine a world that works for all. Here are some of the words of the vision. We envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of life. A world where this kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom. Now, this vision is supported by our shared values, and here they are. Number one, spiritual living. Spiritual living. As we learn and practice our teaching, the science of mind, we live principle-centered, spirit-led lives, and we turn to our principles for guidance in all moments and in all areas of our life. Number two, integrity. We embrace the quality of being honest and strive to let our inner conviction match our outer actions. We express wholeness, honesty, and fairness in our relationships and activities. Number three, love. We embrace love as the self-givingness of life to all creation, moving through us into expression as compassion and caring and mutual respect and loving kindness and selfless service. The last one is compassion. We express interest in and support for the well-being, not only of ourselves, but for others too. We express unconditional love when observing the suffering of others and do what we can to give aid and show compassion. Those are our guiding values. We're a community-supported organization, so I want to make sure that I thank you for your support. Your generosity helps us sustain our work. There are 4 ways that you can contribute financial support to your center. You can give online through our website. Number 2, you can send us, old school, a check. Number 3, you can text your donation to 707-675-2399. Lastly, there will be baskets at the exit for people who prefer to donate in person, and you can put anything you like in there. Well, not anything you like. We use flowers at the center to convey messages of love to each other. And today we have a flower dedication, and it is this one in front of me, in loving memory of Sandra Benko-Fichtenberg, whose memorial we had right here yesterday in the sanctuary. The dedication reads, Sandy Benko-Fichtenberg had an adventurous spirit and a joyful, beautiful heart. We are forever grateful to have had her in our lives. Now I know and trust that somewhere between the music and the meditation and the prayer and the message is exactly what you need for the next step of your spiritual unfoldment. You are welcome here. And I invite you now to breathe in with me. And as you exhale, to let your eyes begin to close so we can enjoy a moment of spiritual contemplation in silence. And to set the tone for that, let us enjoy some music. Welcome.
In this very moment, the one presence of life is fully here. It is that holds, supports, and sustains all of creation, God, the divine spirit. Called by many names, it is that is always abiding in every moment, every person, in every expression. It is truly all that there is. And so I know it as the life of my life, the breath of my breath, right here in this moment. Calling forth, speaking this very word, for it is the all in all of my being. And I know this absolutely as the truth of each and every one of us here, each and every one of us hearing this word, and those with whom we share life. That one presence is right here, opening, guiding, directing all that we are, the very life of our life, in us, around us as one. every moment, every thought, every feeling, every experience. We are held, supported, sustained. Oh, I am so grateful to know this truth. And resting in this awareness, oh, so good. I simply let it go into that divine intelligence, that presence that is and knows and does all things. I let go, I let this be, and so it is. Amen. Good morning. I'm Ruth Barnhart, a minister here at our center. Please join with me in reading this morning's affirmation. I am blessed and grateful for my emotions and my feelings, and so it is.
Somewhere on your journey, some time ago, someone broke a sacred trust. And the hurt and the anger continued to grow, slow like a mountain, a glacier of ice. You get loose to the low, make room for the sighs, till now it bends you to the ground. You could carry that weight for 1,000 miles, or you could just lay it down, down. You can just lay it down. You say what was done took your breath away, left your words out in the wind. And if you hold this burden like an iron gate, nothing gets out and nothing gets in. But as you grow weary and time steals the days, your grip, it starts shifting round. And you can carry that weight for 1,000 ways, or you can just lay it down, down. You can just lay it down. You can just lay it down. Now this trial is over when you say so. You don't have to wait anymore. And it doesn't really matter when you let it go. There's nobody counting, no one to keep score. A little forgiveness from deep inside, that's where mercy is found. You have carried that weight for 1,000 times, but you can here lay it down, down. Now you can lay it down. Now you can lay it down. You could have carried that weight till the end of time, but now you can lay it down.
Ah, that was beautiful. Can we give some more love to Mr. Christopher Fritzsche and our wonderful band? Yeah, doesn't it feel good to be reminded that we can just lay it down? Yeah. So we have entered the month of May. And because we have entered the month of May, we have a new journal for you that you have probably received in the mail. But if you haven't received it in the mail, you can also find it at the information table out there, outside in the sanctuary. And you can also get signed up for our mailing list, and we'll mail it out to you when we have new copies. And I love the journal because it's been helping us to track how we are following our global themes with Centers for Spiritual Living. And so this month's theme is one of my all-time favorite things to talk about, and that is emotions. And maybe you're thinking, why? Why do we have to talk about our emotions? I don't wanna. If you're like me, sometimes that comes up, and I'm like, I really don't wanna. I don't wanna feel, I don't wanna acknowledge that I have emotions, but it's gonna be a wonderful journey throughout this month. And if you have your journal with you, under my notes for today's talk, I invite you to write down 3 questions that you can take with you throughout this entire month as we dive into this exploration. And that first question is, what is my relationship with my emotions? Okay. Second question is a little bit longer, but don't worry, we're recording the service, so you can always go back and find it, and we'll make sure that they're available for you. The second question is, what might it mean for me to take time every day to simply sit and feel my emotions? And the third question, and for me this is the most important one to remind myself, what might it mean for me to remind myself every day to be aware of the emotions of those around me? And so you don't have to have answers for those right now. Simply write them down, and as things come up, either in this talk or throughout the week, I invite you to do a little bit of an exploration there, and that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about exploring our emotions. So first, let's start with our talk title, which is What's on Your Spice Rack? And I love this talk title so much because I love to cook. If you ask my friends, I'm always cooking something, and I especially love cooking with spices. And the right spice can really transform a dish. It can really uplift it and turn it into something that is, in my mind, transcendent. And over the years, because I love spices so much, I have collected quite a few spices and quite a few spice mixes. And that means that I have less of a spice rack and more of a spice cabinet. And what I found over the years is that I am not super great at organizing my spices. I'm actually kind of bad at it. And have you noticed it can be hard to organize your spices because they're in a jar, and even unless you've got like a label on the cap, they're all kind of like behind each other, and it's just a mess. My spice cabinet is an utter mess. I'm going to own that right here and now. And yes, I do have some go-to spices. I love my Cajun and Creole spices. I use them often. But I've also noticed that sometimes I have spices that are buried in that spice cabinet. So much so that I'm not sure about all of the spices that are in there anymore. Some of them have been lost to the passage of time. And I think that's such a wonderful analogy for what we're talking about here today, emotions. And what I know is that emotions are an intrinsic part of our lives. It's what it means to be human. In fact, I know that emotions are what make life worth living. And I love that spice rack analogy so much because it really describes how my relationship with emotions can show up. Sometimes my feelings are very easily accessible. Other times there might be emotions and feelings that are so buried that I'm not even aware that they're there. Without emotion in our lives, I think we would be living as robots, wouldn't we? It would be really hard to make meaning in the world without emotion, without knowing what fills us with happiness or how we can approach sadness. Sure, if we didn't have emotions, there wouldn't be any sadness or fear, but there also wouldn't be any joy or happiness. And what I found is that, like any spice, some emotions are more appropriate for the experiences in our lives than others. Imagine what might happen if I put some of my tasty Cajun and Creole spices on Pat Huffaker's delicious pineapple upside down cake that's at the AIDS life cycle today. Nobody wants to eat that. You know, emotions can be the same way. Sometimes if we react with the wrong emotion for a situation, or if we bring in a lot of emotion into a situation that doesn't benefit from those emotions, we can cause problems for ourselves and for others. I think of it like this. If I'm going to, for example, if I have to go to a hospital and I have to have a major surgery, I really don't want my surgeon to be going through an emotional breakdown at that point in time. I kind of want him to be a cool customer. And certainly, I'm hoping that my surgeon is doing their work so that they don't have something come up while they're in the middle of that procedure. There are other situations, though, where we're called to have an emotional response, where we're called to show up with our empathy and with our compassion. And if we don't, that too can be damaging. So what I'm talking about here is balance, and we can find that balance through the spiritual practice of emotional intelligence. And you may have heard that phrase before, but if you haven't, emotional intelligence describes our ability to recognize and process and regulate our own emotional experience. It also is the ability for us to recognize the emotions in others. And what it calls us to do is to find a relationship with our feelings and with the feelings of those around us. It invites us to bring in compassion to ourselves and to others if we witness anger, if we witness sadness, if we see fear, suffering. But it also invites us to recognize and share our joy with one another, our happiness, our playfulness, our unconditional love. And it also invites us to really look at the ways that we might be avoiding feeling our feelings. And that avoidance, how that avoidance can sometimes cause negative emotional experiences for us that are unexpected, that show up when we don't really want them to show up in our lives. So I'm going to use myself as an example of this, what this looks like. Up until my 30s I was a bit robotic in my life. I had a hard time feeling my emotions, and that's because, when I was a kid, like so many boys in our world, I learned that phrase, "big boys don't cry." And oh man, I'm so tired of that phrase because it's so damaging. What it taught me is that my feelings aren't valid. That the sadness that I was feeling, because, I had a fairly dysfunctional family when I was growing up, like so many people do, and there was sadness that was trying to find its way out of me. It was trying to be processed, and that's natural, that's normal, but because I had internalized that phrase, "big boys don't cry," that sadness and showing my tears was unacceptable, I had to push it all down. I had to suppress it all down. And that ended up being with me for much of my life, that consciously or subconsciously, I would bury any feelings that were uncomfortable, any hurts, any pain, any sadness. And I absolutely would never, ever, 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 ever show that feeling, that hurt to others. It was just impossible. I couldn't. There was this part of me that was just blocking it and locking it in a little cage, dumping it to the very end of my spice cabinet. Now, this doesn't work. Sorry, doesn't. I tried it. It doesn't work very well at all. It's actually kind of damaging and horrible and bad, and I'm so grateful that I found a way out of it. And the reason that I'm grateful that I found a way out is because even though I tried to suppress these feelings, they would find a way to come out. The problem is that they would come out in really unhealthy ways, sort of burying them inside of myself, and then they would explode forth, and I wouldn't know why I was exploding at somebody. I wouldn't know why I was freaking out about something or feeling anxiety or feeling whatever I was feeling. I felt like I was out of control. And that's because our feelings, the more we bury them, the louder they tend to get, because they're just trying to get our attention. They're just trying to tell us a story. And what I also learned is that hidden trauma can also be the result of these feelings being repressed and not processed. And I would define trauma as a bad experience that we have in our lives that gets ingrained, that becomes a part of us and is unhealed. And that can really have a profound impact on our lives and how we show up. And so I noticed that I had to do some work on this, and that the more I did this work, the more my own hidden trauma, my own feelings would begin to be healed. And I did that through the work of simply discovering and feeling those stuck emotions within me. So what did I do? What can we do differently? How can we build a deeper and more profound relationship with the emotions within us? Well, Deepak Chopra says, and I love this quote, he says, instead of resisting any emotion, the best way to dispel it is to enter it fully, embrace it, and see through your resistance. So maybe you're wondering, well, how do I do that? I certainly didn't know how to do it until I got some help, and the help that I got is that our emotions tend to show up in our physical bodies. They're a physical felt feeling in our bodies. Maybe we feel it in our head, we feel it in our throat, our chest, our shoulders, our back, our belly, but it always shows up with a physical representation in our lives. And so what I learned was how to practice doing a scan, a check of my body to see, do I have any emotions, any feelings that are just asking to be felt, to be heard? Sometimes it would show up as like tension in my shoulders. Ooh, I wonder why I have that tension. Is it trying to tell me something? Or maybe in my belly or my heart. And the more I did this practice, the more I learned a really powerful truth. And that truth is that our emotions will never lie to us. Our emotions are always telling us the truth. And let me unpack that, because I want to make a distinction here between thoughts and experiences that may have triggered the emotion versus the emotion itself. Certainly, experiences, thoughts, conversations, interactions, there may be inaccuracies, untruths in those, but the emotion itself is 100% completely valid. If I am feeling sad, I am feeling sad. If I am feeling happy, I am feeling happy. If I'm feeling joy, I am feeling joy. Joy just is. Happiness just is. That is true. And there may be a story behind that those emotions are trying to point us at, but it's very important, I've found for myself, that I know that if I'm feeling something, that is valid and that's okay. I mean, how often in our lives have we been experiencing sadness and somebody will come up to us and say, don't be sad? What do you do when you get that? I know when I hear that, I get more sad. So maybe it takes me through the emotion a little bit faster, I don't know, but it invalidates our feelings when either we tell ourselves or we tell others to not feel the feeling that they're feeling in that moment. And that's a really powerful thing that I had to learn, because I was invalidating my own feelings. I was saying, why am I so sad right now? I need to move on from this. I need to power through it. And that didn't work very well at all. What I learned, because I knew then that my feelings, all of my feelings, were absolutely worthy of my attention, they're absolutely real, is that it's more helpful for me to simply sit and allow the feeling of those emotions to come through me. Initially, when I began this practice, I really wanted to put a label on them. I wanted to say, that's happiness, that's sadness, that's joy, that's fear, that's yada, yada, yada. The problem with that kind of practice, and you may learn this if you take this practice on yourself, is that analyzing that I was doing, that labeling, is all happening up here. It's all happening in the brain. It's not coming from the heart. It's not coming from our felt emotions. And that practice of using our thoughts to try to dissect, to analyze, to really pull apart the feelings that are simply just asking to be heard, to be felt, that can be a form of avoidance in and of itself. In fact, in common lists of defense mechanisms in psychology, it's called intellectualization, where we try to intellectualize our way through a pain that we're feeling. It doesn't heal the pain, it just defers it so that we're going to have to feel it again. And so the more I did this practice, the more I would start to recognize if I'm overthinking a feeling rather than just simply feeling it. Luckily, though, I did start to get better at it. The more I practiced it, the more I would simply be able to be, oh, there's tension in my shoulders. I wonder what that's all about. And then let it speak to me and be like, oh, sadness. Okay. And then just feeling it and letting it do what it's going to do to me. And that's so important because I began to recognize that there's a very large difference between our thoughts versus our feelings. If you've had a feeling, if you've had a very strong feeling of joy, of happiness, you know that sometimes it's really hard to put that into words, isn't it? Like our words feel inaccurate. I think that's why we have so much poetry, so much creativity in the world, because the emotions that we feel simply cannot be trapped in this little box of words that we use. And if you're like me, you have an inner monologue. That would be your thoughts, your train of thought. And those thoughts tend to come through in words, don't they? The more I felt my feelings, though, the more I recognized that it's important for us to make that distinction in our lives and our interactions of when we're trying to connect through a thought versus connect through a feeling. So think, for example, if you ever, as in raise of hands actually, have you ever asked somebody, how are you feeling today? And then they told you about all of the things they were doing. Maybe you've been that person who's responded that way. I know I have. That's the difference that I'm talking about here. What if instead I asked that question, how are you feeling today? And you said, oh, you know, I am feeling really good today. I feel happy. What that does is that allows us to connect from our heart center in addition to our head center. The other way, though, doesn't allow us to connect emotionally because I don't know how you're feeling. I only know all the things that you're doing. Maybe I can discern it based on what's on your face. You know, our faces tend to show our emotion, whether we want them to or not. But I think there's an opportunity for us as we build this emotional intelligence practice to really start to shift the way that we interact with one another, to look and ask, hey, how are you feeling? And then respond, oh, you know, let me check in. I'm feeling a little sad right now. And now we can have a conversation about that emotion. Maybe you tell me you're feeling a little sad and be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Is there anything that I can do to help? Or would you just like me to sit here with you in this? So to help us out with this, because it can be challenging to get out of our heads and to get into the feeling tone of this, I did go online, I did a little bit of research to find a nice short list of emotions so that we can start to tell the difference. Now, this is not a definitive list, and I want to be clear that there is some argument in psychological circles about, you know, whether or not these are or are not emotions. So I'm just trying to keep it super simple here. And I'll put this list up on Facebook after our second service today so that you have a copy of it. But the 6 main emotions that I found that were fairly common are happiness, sadness, fear, joy, disgust, and surprise. And maybe you watched that Disney Pixar movie, Inside Out, and those are all the main characters in there. And I highly recommend, if you really want to dive into this conversation, watch that movie, because that movie is scary accurate in how it portrays how our emotions tend to work inside of us. Now, if you're like me and you were doing this research, you might be asking yourself, why don't I see love in that list? And the reason for that, and I had to do a little digging here because I was really like, I need to see love in this list. I really do. You know, it's such a new thought answer, right? I need to have some love in this right now. The reason is because love is a little bit deeper than feelings and emotion. It actually is a motivating force that can lead us to feel joy, can lead us to feel happiness. But love can actually also lead us to feel sadness. You know, if I have a beloved friend who moves across country, I may feel sad in that moment because I know I'm not going to be able to spend as much time with them. So if it does work for you, of course, you can include love in that list, but I wanted to make that distinction there so you're wondering where that came from. And now, because we are in a spiritual community and we do spiritual practice, I'd like to invite us into a practice that I do typically on a daily basis, as long as I can remind myself and remember. And I invite you to make this a practice that you take throughout your week. Spend 5 minutes, just 5 minutes is all it takes, to go through this practice and what you're going to do. And I'll take you into it in a moment, but I want to explain it first. Imagine that your awareness is like a flashlight. You can take that flashlight and you can point it, and wherever you point it, you find illumination. And we're going to take that flashlight and we're going to point it at the different parts of our body, and it's going to uncover for us any feelings that we are having in our body. And when you find one, just simply sit with it. Notice maybe if you're trying to analyze it, and you can just let that analysis just sort of fly away like a bird, and just sit and feel. And so I'll invite you to go ahead and close your eyes if that feels comfortable. And taking that flashlight of your awareness, point it at your head, and notice, what physical sensations do you feel in your head right now? Is there any tension? Or perhaps you feel relaxed? Simply notice anything that is feeling in your head. And now take that flashlight and move it down to your throat, your neck, your shoulders. And this is a very common place for emotions to get stuck. Do you feel any tension? Do you feel relaxed? Just simply notice what you feel in your neck and your shoulders. Now take that flashlight and move it down to your chest area. And this is another common place for emotions to hang out, especially around our heart space. And take notice of how do you feel? How does that chest space feel right now? What might be going on there? And now take that flashlight of awareness and point it at your belly. And I've noticed for myself that sometimes this is where the deepest emotions like to hang out. Simply feel, what do you feel in your belly right now? Now I invite you to take a nice deep breath, breathing in, breathing out. Come back to the room, and when you feel ready, go ahead and open your eyes. So that practice you can do every day. I went through it a little bit quickly, and I would invite you, if you find something that feels sticky, take the time to just sit with it, to be with it, to see what it's telling you. Because at the end of the day, that's all our emotions are trying to do for us. They're just trying to tell us a story. They're trying to inform us on our journey as though they're signposts along the way. Writer Sabah Tahir says, "Your emotions make you human. Even the unpleasant ones have a purpose. Don't lock them away. If you ignore them, they just get louder and angrier." So growing our emotional intelligence is a really powerful spiritual practice. It allows us to better understand ourselves and our own motivations in life. For me, it's allowed me to show up more authentically, more vulnerably with those people around me. And from that work that I've been doing, and I probably continue to do until I'm pushing up daisies, I've discovered so much about myself, about who I am here to be in the world. And even better is I've been able to create such beautiful, deep relationships with my friends and those around me. My life is more fulfilling, and that's what I hope for each and every one of you. So take this question into your days and weeks to come. What would your life look like if you built a better and deeper relationship with your feelings? Let's take that into our May prayer here in our journals about emotions. The Father-Mother presence is limitless in its manifestations. Infinite in variety and expression, this creative intelligence is at once a profound mystery and a warm, responsive presence, a limitless ocean of adoration and acceptance. It enfolds, treasures, and provides for all of its creation without reservation. Because I am held in this unqualified love, I am gloriously free to express all my parts. I am a creature of this Creator, and as a human expression of Spirit's infinite beingness, I express and respond to life through myriad emotional expressions. I accept all of me, holy and irreverent, sacred and profane, knowing that there is a gift, a learning in every emotion I experience that can bring me closer to the divine. With an open heart and mind, I accept them all as beneficial. In joyful gratitude, I gladly drop these words into that aspect of Spirit that is law and that always makes my words so. And together we say, "And so it is." Thank you. So now is the part of our service when we would normally pass the baskets around, and we wanted to continue to make this meaningful. So I invite you in this moment to call in your memory an experience that you had this past week that fills you with gratitude, and allow that experience to grow and to inform whatever gifts that you share with us today, whether it's financial gifts, whether it's your sacred service, or even just sharing your beautiful consciousness with us here today. Allow that gratitude to fill you up and to be that guiding force that takes you throughout your entire day, your entire week. All right. Now is the time where we get to hear what's going on at our center, and I got to tell you, there's quite a bit coming up in May, because we've got some stuff going on. So I'm going to invite Dr. Edward back up here to tell us about our amazing center. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Russ Legear. What a wonderful message about feelings and emotions. there are a number of ways you can take advantage of to connect with each other, to grow and to learn, and also to connect and grow and learn with Reverend Russ coming up. For example, death and dying is a really tender, complex topic, and our group, Full Circle, hosts a conversation about that. It happens to be today at 1 p.m., and Reverend Russ is going to be leading a meditation for that group. You can attend on Zoom. Wednesday Night Live is an event we have on the first Wednesday of every month, and it's with Reverend Russ. He'll be talking some more about emotions, and he'll be demonstrating the body-centered technique that he's been talking about that helps us get into touch with our feelings. That's also on Zoom. And there's another experience. If you're one of those people that experiences the divine through nature and being outdoors, then think about this. Reverend Russ is hosting a spirit walk on Saturday. That's May 7th at 1 p.m. to walk the Corton Trail. That's off of Seal Beach in the Sonoma Coast State Park. There's a sign up on our web page because we're connecting people who want to carpool. So sign up, and at the end of the week, Reverend Russ will be connecting people if you'd like to ride share. So that's today, Wednesday and Saturday. You can connect with Reverend Russ and others and learn and grow together. Now, COVID safety protocols have changed in Sonoma County, and we are adjusting accordingly. And we are giving our community advanced notice about the changes to inform everyone how we will be conducting services starting on Mother's Day, May 8th. Here's the big change. We will be resuming congregational singing on Mother's Day. We will continue to be invited to read the affirmation during the service. Masks will be continued to be recommended but not required, and coffee service will continue to be served outside. All right, and talking of outside, today you heard mention of the bake sale, and our AIDS Life Cycle team is hosting it. They are getting super close, 1 month away from doing their 545-mile ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles to raise funds for people living and coping with HIV and AIDS for education and treatment. And I do want to thank two of our supporting vendors who send us goodies. Wildflower Bakery in Freestone has been incredibly generous. Absolutely, yes. And today, Selexis Wineries from Napa have sent us a whole bunch of wine that you can buy at the bake sale. We even have a liquor license to be able to receive your donation for it. So, where are you going to find a spiritual center that sells you wine at Sunday morning? I mean, receives donations for wine. Now, on the way to the bake sale, please notice the beautiful meditating Buddha on display at the bookstore, because it's the last week you can admire it, because it's on raffle. And the drawing will be on Mother's Day, so it's going home with somebody. And then there are 6 runner-ups for those raffle tickets. Each person will receive 6 books of their choice from our bookstore, selected series of books. So there's a lot going on. Stop in the bookstore, go to the bake sale, have fun. Important to me, it's so wonderful that we have an online virtual version of our service. And a crew of volunteer camera operators make that possible. In part, they're filming it for us. So if you have watched or you're watching online right now, you probably are aware of what an excellent job they do, these volunteers. Here's the important part. They need more volunteers to keep our virtual program going. This is truly important. It is a volunteer-staffed operation, and we need more humans in it. Now, you don't need experience. We will train you. You just need to love the center and want to continue helping its message reach beyond brick and mortar into the virtual world. So stop by the information table and sign up, and we will train you. We've got a lot of room for people to do sacred service through volunteering, because as we start to come back and see more people in person, we need more help. We need a whole bunch of bodies to make this run smoothly. It's happening. We need greeters. We need coffee servers. And don't you know, during the week, we need people to help us clean up. Our facility manager, William Abel, is working part-time. And so the rest of the work is being done by a volunteer force. Our center is waking up from a COVID sleep. And so it's time for us to show up, clean up, pack up, do all the things. This is your center. Come and help us. We are waiting for you at the information table. And remember, for our young people, don't forget to pick up your coloring in sheet, okay? And color it in. And then you know what you can also do is put your name on it. And you know what you can also do? You can write to us on the back and tell us about your mother, okay? What a fabulous mother you have. And we will put that up next week, okay? That is wonderful. Let's see. Have I covered everything? Oh, we have a beautiful video from Lawrence Edwards. He's from our education ministry, a practitioner. And, well, people just love taking class with Lawrence for a number of reasons. He's got the voice, right? And he's got the consciousness. So here's what he has to say about spiritual principles and practices.
Hi, my name is Lawrence Edwards, and I am a licensed practitioner here at the Center for Spiritual Living. I am honored to facilitate and present our core class, Spiritual Principles and Practices, starting May 3rd at 6 p.m. If you're like me, you might have been feeling somewhat ungrounded, disoriented in light of everything that has been going on in the world. I got good news for you, for this class is designed to help teach spiritual practices and principles to help us to get back to our center. You can register for this class on our website. It's going to be a wonderful time, and I look forward to seeing you there.
Wonderful. And now it is time for us to close our service. So if there is something incomplete in you, or if you cried yourself to sleep last night, or if you've got something in your life or someone in your life that you would like to shine the flashlight of consciousness on, use our prayer practitioners who are on standby on Zoom after every service. They are ready to partner with you and custom make a spiritual mind treatment for you for what it is that is going on in your life. And now, won't you please stand for our closing affirmation and repeat after me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind, life is in my body, and life is in my affairs. I think it, I feel it, and I embrace it, just the way that it is. And just the way that it is not. Thank you, life. Know with me that you are never alone, that Spirit is right where you are, that you have only to look within at any moment to know that you are guided, sustained, and empowered by a presence that expresses itself as you in this world. In deepest gratitude, let us live our lives accordingly, so that in everything that we do and say and think, we honor this presence within. And so it is. Let us close with music. See you soon. Bye-bye.
For the Spirit of love